In this lesson, we're going to create the low poly cylinder. Alright, so let's go ahead and go to frame 1 to explode out our mesh. And we want to get the low poly cylinder. Now to get started with this, we could go ahead and create a brand new cylinder and we could add all of this detail, but we know that we've already created this mesh once. And it took a little bit for us to get that. And looking at the model that we have now, if we select it, we've applied that Turbo Smooth, we've collapsed that, we've baked it down into the mesh itself, so that's why we're still at Editable Poly. And reducing this mesh would be quite a bit of a hassle. And so what we want to do instead is we want to use the model from another file that we've created. So hopefully as you're going through and you're creating your game models, you're creating these iterative save files. And so that's a good habit to get into. And so I'm going to show you how to use merge to bring in a file like that. So let's go ahead and go to File, and we're going to go to Import and then Merge. And we're going to go to our Project Files folder, and I'm going to go to, let's do 16 here. And whenever we open up 16, we should see cylinder 003. That's going to be what we'll need. Go ahead and hit OK on that, and you'll see that that comes into the scene here. There's a couple of problems with this though. First thing is we've got this detail that we've started in there, and I don't need all of that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that from my cylinder. So you'll notice that if we go to polygon mode, that should be selected there. If not, go ahead and just select it, and then we'll select this entire piece here, and we're going to go ahead and delete it out. So just hit delete, and then I'm going to go to edge mode. I'm going to double click on these loops that are extra here, and I'm going to hit Control Backspace, and then go to these two edges and simply bridge that across, and same thing here, bridge that. Alright, perfect. Now we have this extra edge right here that we don't necessarily need on our game mesh, so I'm actually going to delete it. So Control Backspace to do that. And same thing for this one here, Control Backspace. Alright, so that gets rid of those edges. You'll see that we have most of our game model all ready to go here, but there are a couple of things that I would like to change about it. So first thing to do, let's go ahead and line it up with the cylinder here. To do this, let's go ahead and turn off edge mode. Let's go to Align and select our cylinder. And make sure that you're just set to the X and Z position, leave it center to center, and then we'll hit OK. Alright, so here we have this, and it matches up pretty well, but there are some things that we're missing. We're missing a little bit of resolution in this area here, and I want to be able to get that back. However, I don't want to sit and do it for each individual one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to polygon mode. I'm going to go to my front or back view. You can hit V and K to go to your back view. Hit Z to zoom in on your selection. And let's select the polygons on this side of the object and delete that out. Then we're going to select the polygons on the bottom half and delete that out. And so all we have is just this quadrant of this. And what we'll do is we'll mirror that and we'll get that information back. But I just want to work on this one piece and then half of this one. You'll notice that once we start working on this, we'll be able to get our detail much, much faster. Alright, so with this, let's go to edge mode. I'm going to select these 3 edges, or actually these 6 edges, I should say. And let's do connect. Now we want to connect it with a single segment, and I'm going to hit OK. Now with that segment selected, I'm going to push that back in the Y. Now before I can do that, let's make sure that we have the constraints turned off, and then push that back in the Y and round that out there. Alright, very good. Now with that, let's go ahead and go to vertex mode, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to cut from this vertex here down to this vertex. Okay, and then here I'm going to cut from here just down to the edge segment there. Then what we'll do is we'll go to vertex mode, we'll select these 2 vertices and we'll connect those. And then I'm going to go here, here, and here, and we'll connect those. And so it creates this nice little set of triangles right here. Alright, so now with that set, let's make sure that it lines up to our high poly mesh. You'll see here that it doesn't do all that great of a job, so select this edge and this one, and let's also select this one. And we're just going to move those forward in the Y until they match up with our image, or our high resolution mesh. Okay, and it does a pretty good job. There are a couple of other things that we'll need to take care of as well. First thing is we'll need to take these edges and we need to pull those forward as well. So let's go ahead and go to polygon mode, select this edge and this one, and then also this one. But before we do that, let's turn on isolation mode. Let's not forget these as well. And you'll notice here that if I actually just take these 2 points, let me pull those forward first. Let me make that even there. Then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll take those polygons again. We're not going to take those along with us though, just these. And let's pull that forward in the Y, but first turn off isolation mode. And let's pull that forward to here. And then we're going to move our edges. Okay. And so with this, it's going to be a little difficult to do that. We may actually need to go ahead and create another set of edges that can round that off a little bit better. Okay, because it's still very very angular in that. So let's go ahead and turn on isolation mode, and let's go from this edge to this edge. Okay, and I'm just going to use a connect. Do the same thing here. Connect that, and then one here. Connect. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll actually just pull these up. Pull this one up a little bit. Let me turn that off, and just so I can see that. And I just want this to be nice and round, and I want it to match closely to my reference image, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And in this case, I'm going to leave it just like that for right now. Okay. Then let's take this edge right here. Let's push that up. Round that out there. And we may have to pull that up in the Z and the X. And then this one. Now, this is not going to be a precise movement. We may be a little off of the surface. We want to be careful with that. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to get a nice little curve here. Then let's go ahead and take these points here at the top and let's just pull those forward until they match with our reference image. Or not with our reference image, but with our mesh. Okay, so something like that. And I'm going to pull this one forward. And just try to get these fairly close. Okay, so now that we have this started, let's go ahead and take this vertex. Let me pull that forward. And we should be good there. And then we're going to go to vertex mode, and we're going to make a couple of cuts here. First thing I'll do is actually go ahead and connect these two vertices. And then I'll take this one and connect it to here. And same thing here. So we'll connect those. Take that one, pull that forward there. And we'll select these and connect. Alright, good. Now we need to get the rest of that back there. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and turn that off. And you'll see that the pivot point is centered on this. If you go to your back view, hitting V and K, you can see that it's centered there. And so we'll just say mirror, and we can mirror that along the Y or the X, whichever you want to do first. And then we'll take one of those and we'll just simply attach the mirrored, and then we need to make sure that we weld those vertices together. So make sure all those along the center are selected, and we'll say weld. Let's knock that down to 0.01. Hit OK on that. And then we're going to mirror that again, still making it a copy, but this time along the Y. And then we're going to attach this one. And then go to vertex mode, select those vertices along the center, and let's weld those. All right, great. So now we have that information set, and now all we have to do at this point is go ahead and start working on the spindle and then get the ratchet attached to that. And so we'll continue on with that in our next lesson.